Welcome to another edition of Johnny Live. And my name is Johnny. We have got some things to talk about this evening. And we got a couple of different topics to discuss. Everybody getting that money back, they getting that chop. Y'all know it's tax season, right? So we definitely gonna talk about money. And one of the topics we're gonna talk about today is, can money bring happiness? I am going to show you a video, and we're going to start showing videos on my podcast more for local talent and also some major talent, up and coming talent. So make sure you watch out for that. That's just some things that we got in the works coming within the next few days. So I want to thank everybody for tapping in. We are at my new studio, R&J. James is my partner. Definitely down here doing this thing, going viral. And I hope y'all like my new backdrop, the Johnny Live, if you see it up here. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely growing. Got my own little backdrop, bussing. So, and then we got the studio down here. So things are really picking up and looking good. And it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's hard work to do what I do. But as you can see around me, and it looks really clear, this is the Johnny Live studio that I'm in. And we also got the backdrop in the back. Thanks whoever sent that in. Okay. Thanks whoever sent that emoji. I'm not used to that. I guess I gotta get used to that. People showing love. That's what's up. They got that money, they feeling comfortable. That's what's up. So Black depression is something that I did a bunch of shows on, and I did a lot of research, so I'm kind of diverse on it. And it's a topic that is near and dear to me, because a lot of us get depressed and we don't even know it, right? We may be sitting going through our day and just feeling down and just think like, man, I'm just not feeling good today, without really knowing that you're going through a depression. And to have those signs and be able to recognize those signs can be a powerful thing. Now, us in the Black community, we've been told that just pray about it, just pray, get on your knees and pray about it, and things will go away, things will get better. And in some cases it will. But we've also been told not to really seek out professional help. And a lot of us do need professional help. It's a lot of people to go around today with different diagnoses, things that they have not been diagnosed with. So some of those things, some people are bipolar. Some females may be bipolar and don't even know it. I have friends like that. I had girlfriends sometimes like that. One day they happy, the next day they sad, or within that same day, it's just like a shift, a major shift to happy to sad. And a lot of times, in order to mask this stuff, that we start drinking, we pick up habits of drinking, we pick up habits of smoking or popping pills or something like that. We pick up bad habits to try to mask the fact that we're depressed. And that all falls into the two topics I'm talking about today: depression and can money bring us happiness? Because we all got a little bit of money now, ching ching in the bank. And you just have to kind of ask yourself, is that going to bring you happiness? Is that what you're going to be waiting for? Because some of that money, depending on what you're doing with it, it may not be around for long. Right? If you were struggling before you got the money, and now you're thinking of things, I need to buy a car, I need to get a house, rent, and rent is like first month rent, last month rent, and deposit. So what I'm saying, you're spending some bands right there. Your kids need something. So sometimes even before you get the money, you spending the money. So the thing is it may bring you temporary happiness, but this whole thing is to try to find happiness within yourself. So no matter if you have a little bit of money a lot of money, you're still happy. There's people out there that have millions and millions and millions of dollars and still depressed. So you have to try to find out what it is that makes you feel good inside. Timothy said, very educational subject that needs to be talked about. Yes, it's true. Black depression is real. It's just that we don't really talk about it, or we get drunk, or we get high. And the more depressed we are, the more we get drunk and the more we get high, and just try to mask it and be like, man, I ain't trying to hear it. I remember one comedian, he talked about, he was like, when black folks get mad and like the silk will get cut off and it's cold in the house, and then you smoke a blunt and be like, you know what? Fuck that silk coat. Fuck that heat. And it's funny, but that's kind of how it is. It's like when issues happen, we may go get drunk or high, and then it's like, fuck that problem. Fuck that. I ain't worried about that problem right now. You know what I'm saying? Instead of really dealing with the problem to fix it. That's the whole thing. We as humans are supposed to feel emotions, because emotions, if you go through something, then that's going to make you stronger. It builds your character. It gets you out of that situation. But if you just drunk and high all the time, you might not feel that emotion to say, hey, I need to get up. I need to go to school. I need to read some books. I need to get 2 jobs. I need to pay some bills off. You know what I'm saying? You may not reach that level to where you get to that point where you say, hey, I need to do something about it. Timothy said, the vices is everybody way of running from their problems. Yeah, it is. It's a way to run away from your problems. And then some people is eating. Some people are overweight because they eat when they get, that's why they call it comfort food, because you're eating to feel comfortable. You're eating because you're like, man, I don't feel good. I'm stressed out and I'm going to eat. That was like one of my problems. Some people don't even understand, and that's why some people don't understand it. They don't understand the depression, but they don't understand why they can't lose weight and they keep getting big, because you're eating because you're depressed. That's why this is so important to talk about, because some people don't realize that they're even depressed. It's not talked about. If you're sitting there and you're drinking every day, or you're smoking every day, or you can't stop smoking cigarettes because cigarettes bring you a certain calm, you're depressed. And I feel, Timothy said, and I feel like us as men have it harder than women because we're not allowed to express ourselves. That is exactly right. Did you know, now, Timothy, did you know that women are prone to live longer because they do what? They cry. That crying relieves stress, to where they have a longer life because they go through life crying and releasing the stress. We don't. We killing ourselves by trying to hold it in and be strong. We killing ourselves. Generations of men just wiped out because we're taught to be strong. And the more that we don't have father figures in our life, it was just moms. Moms are going to tell us to man up, don't cry, man up, don't cry. It's funny because my daughter, when she was younger, she like fell down and skinned her knee. And she came to me, she was like, I'm okay. And I'm like, baby, it's okay to cry. Oh, that was so funny. She like toughed up and she was like, I'm okay. It's like, baby, it's okay to cry. But us men, we're not taught that. We'll be like, man, tough up, man up. And that theory is killing us. We stress the fuck out. And I'm not saying that women don't stress out or women not, but I'm right now talking about men. And we're gonna watch the video. Y'all stay with me. Even if you go away and see something else, stay with me because I'm gonna watch a video between men and women. And I don't know what they call it. What should I call you, Norman Gates? Norman Gates. Facebook jail, Norman Gates said, boy, you know money makes shit better. And it does. I'm not gonna okay, Norman, let me say this, okay? I understand your point, but I'm gonna give you two examples if I can remember. But one example, a man won the lottery. Okay, won the lottery. Millions of dollars. His daughter was doing drugs before he won the lottery. He won the lottery, more money. She had more money. She OD'd on drugs. You know what I'm saying? So if it was not for him winning all of that money, she wouldn't have had the money to go buy all those drugs and OD. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the other example is there are people who, let's say that was that movie star who a few years ago committed suicide. Not Tom Hanks, but the other one. So there's people who have money who it doesn't necessarily bring them happiness. Oh, that DJ that was on Ellen. That DJ on Ellen killed himself. That man had money. He might have been going through some struggles, but that man was making money. But money don't always bring you happiness. It can bring you happiness in the moment. And then like with this tax money, I rarely see people have tax money that lasts long term. So it brings a certain amount of happiness because you're able to buy whatever you want. Right now, if you get 10 bands, 20 bands, some people got 40 bands, some people got 50 bands, you can buy whatever you want. I know people that are broke and happy. Exactly. I know some people. Norman, you was a guy. I love it though. I know some people who are broke, and I be looking at you like, boy or girl, you better get a job, and they be just happy as fuck. Be like, what the fuck? I'm sitting over here stressing, like, man, my paycheck is short. They taking out child support. What the fuck is you smiling about? What? Why are you going out of town? So some people be broke and be happy as all get out. It just never dawned on them that I'm broke. So it goes both ways. There's broke people happy and full of life, and there's rich people who stressed. And then you got normal who loving the fact of being rich. And I can't never argue with you on that level, because I will want to know how it feels to have a lot of money and just be able to do what I want to, because money does it makes things better. It makes things better because you're able to pay certain shit. When shit comes due, you're able to pay. Like I have stacked a little bit of money, like around Christmas time and stuff like that. Being the top salesman, I was able to stack money for months and months and months. And now if shit comes up, I'm able to pay it. But I'm nervous as fuck, like when it comes to a time where I don't have that money, boom, that stress coming back. So I'm thinking of ways to invest my money so I can continuously make money and my money can make money. So I don't never get to that point. You understand what I'm saying? But just because you have money does not mean that you're going to continue to be happy. And Timothy said, I make a lot of money working, but I look at money as a way to pay bills and take care of my family. But I wouldn't say it brings me happiness. Right. You could have, say a man can have money and his wife still be cheating on him. Still be cheating on him. And he got money. What Biggie and Puffy said, more money, more problems. They didn't make that song because it is, you know what I'm saying? The more money you get, sometimes the more problems you have. Money didn't keep Tupac from getting shot up. Money didn't keep Biggie from getting shot up. Money didn't keep Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle had a whole mall strip. You know how you go down to downtown, you go down to Hill, MacArthur Hill, and you got that whole, I think it's all Arab now. It was like Arab, black, like, but I think it's like all Arab, a team of Arab people own it. Maybe one person own it. But Nipsey Hussle owned one of those strip malls. Like that has always been my dream, to own a strip mall. But in order to do that, you gotta have money. You have to have money over money over money over money over money. Like Gates, he probably, if he ain't there, he probably on that path to owning one of them things. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't stop him from his demise early in life. Plus, he had a hot out rap album. Plus, he was making money. A lot of these stars make all of that money and be popping pills. Whitney Houston. You can't tell me Whitney Houston had no money. I have never heard of Whitney Houston being in a financial burden or her husband. I've never heard of them being a financial burden ever. She was like the #1 pop star. You're talking about Beyonce. You're talking about any of those stars. Whitney Houston was that times 10. So I've never heard of Whitney Houston with money problems, but she was stressing over a nigga. Ray J. I mean, yeah, she's stressing over a nigga, Ray J. What about Brandy, Ray J's sister? You can't tell me that girl didn't go through problems sometimes in her life. Well, she just damn near had to fell off. She was on top. She was gonna be where Beyonce was right now. That was gonna be Brandy. But the car accident, all that shit. So money don't bring happiness all of the time. For some people it does, but for most people it don't always all the time. I'm just saying. Or maybe I got that vice versa. For most people do, but some people don't bring happiness. So I wouldn't even trust a person that loves money too much, because you never know what they would do for it. Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully they worked hard to get to that point. But like you said, some people can sell their soul, like a Whitney Houston can sell their soul to another person to get to where they're at. So you never know what that person went through. So I want to watch a video, like I said, and I want y'all to check this video out. And first we're gonna watch a video about women because it's kind of short. And there is women go through depression as well. And just watching this video, like there's a lot of things that it taught me. And if you're dating a female, you may want to watch this, because there's some things that we don't understand about the depression and stress that females go through. So you can learn from this. You can learn how to treat your woman. Like I just had a female, and I'm not trying to put her out there, that told me that I made her cry like for the last 2 days. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm just working. Like I'm not paying you no attention. I'm not giving you the time, but like I'm working. Like I got shit to do. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make you cry. Like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? But you have to understand, like sometimes people go through shit and they need people and they need a shoulder to cry on. If you're not there, then this is worth as you dissing them and things like that. So sometimes you have to understand what the other sex is going through and how the other sex is feeling in order to love someone unconditionally. If that makes sense. So let me see if I can pull this video up. And I want y'all to check it out. This is about Black women and what they go through. Make sure y'all like it. Make sure.
Ladies, this is exciting. We're going to be talking about mental health and Black women, a topic that for a long time we didn't hear a lot about.
Hi, gorgeous.
But are slowly starting to hear more women like ourselves talk about mental health. And I know you have all heard the phrase, the strong Black woman. Trisha, when you hear the term strong Black woman, that's your reaction?
I reject it. I dislike it.
You see, right there, let me stop it right there. I've always, if I see a female, I'll be like, yo, and she doing big things, I'll be like, yo, you're a strong Black woman. But listen to how she described what she think when she hear about somebody saying she's a strong black woman. So this blew my mind, y'all.
Trisha, when you hear the term strong black woman, that's your reaction?
I reject it. I dislike it greatly.
Yeah.
I reject it. I know that it has its roots in slavery, in plantation labor, chattel slavery. It is this stereotype that was placed upon black women to box us in, to manipulate us, to make us not see ourselves as full divine beings, to push us. Strong black woman to me allows so much time for abuse and manipulation, for not resting, for burning yourself out. Like, we really have to look at what's systematically happening that's making us be so, traumatized by our pace of life. And so the strong black woman has never been anything I've ever related with. Superwoman, I want rest, I want ease, I need help, help me now. I want help. And so I really like to dismantle and pull back the veil around that term. Like, we shouldn't be claiming it.
It makes me think of a Malcolm X quote. 60 years ago, Malcolm X said, "The most disrespected woman in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman." 6 decades later, there are many people who would say not much has changed. And so when you think about the strong black woman trope and the impacts of that, Ian, how do you feel about that?
I 100% believe that we need to remove the idea that every black woman must be a strong black woman. The problem is that I don't think we've yet decided what black women can be in this space that's left behind from that space. And the idea is, be yourself. Who is allowed to be themselves in this world, especially black women? And I have to also highlight the fact that as a black trans woman, a girl denied of my girlhood in Birmingham, Alabama, and growing up, and the model of womanhood that I tried to emulate and follow was the strong black woman. And now I'm suddenly in this new space. Do we have space for soft black women? For emotional black women? For black women who aren't really good at their jobs, but are great as people and human beings? Are we prepared to make space, and not just make space for, but honor the humanity of black women who don't really have much to contribute as far as a product, yet have so much to contribute as far as people?
Dr. Williams, how often are these topics brought up in your office?
These conversations, I'd like to say, are common, but they're not. I was speaking at an engagement a few weeks ago, and a woman, people come up and they ask you questions later. And she said, "I think what you said was amazing, but can I ask you something? Who takes good care of you?" And I said, "You can't ask me that." She said, "Yes, I'm asking you." And I said, "I can't say." When we're talking about just taking that deep exhale, that's something that is not common. It's something that is like, okay, I'll find a special day.
When I talk about resting in the way I'm framing this work, it cannot happen by ourselves. No. Community care is right up there. We scream self-care, self-care, self-care. And it's like literally all you hear in the media is self-care, self-care, self-care. And I really want us to begin to shift towards thinking about community care. Those systems do not exist right now. Like, why are we like this? Why aren't we caring for each other,
Well, because we're afraid of each other. If we're not self-hating, then we're hating on you.
Do you think it's the idea of hurt people?
I think it comes from a few sources. I think self-hatred, absolutely. Jealousy, absolutely. My grandmother used to talk about crabs in the barrel.
Yeah, we've heard that.
We go up and you keep pulling us down.
Yeah.
I think they may also think there's not enough room for all of us.
The scarcity.
Because most of the time, you end up in a place, whether it's a workplace or whatever, you look around, if there's someone else, well, there's only room for one of us.
Exactly, so not enough room for us. Each one of us, we don't know what our breaking point is. We look like we're all okay.
My naivete is that I just inherently believe that if I look at you, and you look like me, It don't matter if there are slight differences or whatever. If you black like we black, if we black,
There's some
we good. Even if you can't see yourself in me the way I see myself in you,
Yes.
I will grant you that humanity. And I will still work for you. I will still fight for you.
You know, we haven't even gotten to thriving yet.
No.
How do we thrive? How do you talk people into thriving?
Right.
Come on. Come on.
You here, so.
My grandmother,
Right.
she didn't think about her life. Neither did my mom.
Yeah,
And so this is really a new concept
it is.
for us, even in this time in our lives. So when we talk about trying to thrive, I think the underlying basis for all of this is that we inherently like who we are,
That's good.
and we will fight for who we are. That's how you thrive.
Being proud of who I am and whose I am. And also letting myself fall.
Yeah.
Letting myself go, you know, in the past 2 years, deeper and darker than I've ever let myself go. That has been the key to it for me, of just saying, okay, well, girl, I'm trying. Like, I'm trying. I'm trying, and no one can say that I'm not.
When I think about other black women in my life, like always boosting them up and letting them know that you are enough. You come with so many gifts and talent that just were given to you at birth that you have in you. And so those foundational key allow me to tap into spaces of thriving at many points in my life.
I mean, this was such a powerful conversation. I think you got to lean into the lows because that's where the lessons are, and that is what keeps you going to the next height. So thank you all for sharing so much.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
That's one thing, and I want to point out a couple of things about what they talked about. First of all, before I forget, like the end part where they all got up and they hugged each other. Like, that's what I talk about when I talk about women. It's like unity. Like, do you know how much a hug can do? Like, when you see your kids or whatever, what do? You go up and you hug your kids because you're sharing the love and things like that. Women have that unity. Like, they might not even all known each other, but they was going to show each other love. They may not all even agree with each other, but they're going to show each other love at the end of their conversation. Like, men don't get that. We be like you said, toughen up. Somebody say, stick your chest out. Say it with your chest. You know, those type of things are what men and men need love too. I'm not gonna say that we need to be hugging each other, but shit, a female hugging us or whatever like that, or a hug pound for your guy, like yeah, you know what I'm saying? As if your guy he died. And you ain't never showed them no love, pound love, because you trying to be this tough dude. Like, that hurts. That hurts. Like, everybody needs love. Everybody needs to feel that love. But it's been taken out of, like, in our community, it's been taken out. Men don't get that. That's why we have so much hard and rough edges. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's a good thing, but there's a place in you, inside of you, that needs that in order to be a full person. Be full circle. So I'm just saying that. And then, like I talked about before, like there's a lot of things like I didn't really think and understand about, like females walk into an office, and because females don't get a whole lot of respect, if another black woman see another black woman in the office, it's like, oh, well, there can only be one of us at the top. You know what I'm saying? So they fighting for position. I feel the same way sometimes with black men. Like black men in your office, in our office, or whatever, you know, anybody office, it's not like we gonna stick together and help each other rise and build and stuff like that. Come on, I got some stocks I want to tell you about. Yo, I got this investment I want to tell you about. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that. I ain't telling him what I got going on. He ain't got to know what I got going on. You know what I'm saying? And these other races, they be like that. They be just like that. Let me show you an investment that made me $100,000 last year. I want to show it to you. So you can come up. Like, I ain't showing them that. I'm showing how I came up. Got me fucked up. So I'm just saying, y'all. Okay, so now we're gonna discuss like men. I'm not gonna let it play in its entirety. I'm just gonna let it play for us a little bit because it is kind of long. But I want y'all to see the men's version of mental health and things like that. And before I go into it, let me Norman Gates had some good points. He was definitely a supporter. He said money makes everybody happy. I mean, I can't disagree with that because money is gonna make people happy. It's like right now, people got taxes, people are not stressing right now. You don't think they want some money? Yes, I do think everybody want money. You know what I'm saying? And when I was talking about the guy who killed himself, he said something about, so do you think he burned his millions? No, I don't think he burned his money. I think his money went to somebody else, and now they have the money. Whether they're happy or not, I don't know. But inherit is a motherfucker. People be waiting on people to die. So I get his money. So I can be happy. I can experience what he experienced. So inheritance is a motherfucker. People want or be waiting. I ain't gonna say want, but they be waiting on other people to die so they can get that money. A lot of people. I be listening to radio, and this lady was talking like, "Yeah, I just ran into a couple of million because a family member died, and I don't know what to do with it. Should I?" You know what I'm saying? Like inheritance is a motherfucker. Like you need to set up some type of insurance, life insurance, so you can leave wealth. That's how these people build their wealth. That's how some of these people build their wealth is by inheriting that money. So make sure that you are a type of person that you're thinking ahead and trying to build wealth and things like that for the next generation. That's the right thing to do. Now that we know that we haven't did it, before us haven't did it, now we know that that's something that we have to do. So I'm gonna talk about the men, and we're gonna check out what they have to say about this mental health thing.
Met a guy who had been in this position for quite some time. I was leaving work, came up on him. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? You know, let me get some feedback from him." At this time, it was probably like 6 months in, maybe a year. And you know, he's telling me everything about how his day went, how his last couple of weeks have gone, and what the forecast is for the next couple of weeks. And as he's talking, I'm realizing there is no way in hell I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life. There is no way. So coming to that realization in that moment, in that conversation, driving home, having that epiphany, still the lingering effect of losing my dad. And then in the middle of this, we still doing our podcast, me and my wife and everything, vlogging and everything. And I look back, fast forwarding, up until through last year, realized I was extremely depressed. I was going through it. And I thought I was just stressed because of work. Like I lost a whole lot of weight. Yeah. I'm between 220 and 240. Right now I'm like 245. I was down to barely 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And on my frame, going back and look at it, you can tell, like my face is shrunken down. And I told my wife, I was like, I was depressed right here. I was looking at a video, I was like, look at my face. I don't even look healthy. Yeah. And she, they don't see that. Like, you always look good, babe. Like, man, just shut up. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm over here, like, look at me right here. So realizing that, it was like, I had that trauma of, it was like, almost like a trauma of looking back at the past and was like, dang, I went through that and I didn't even realize it.
Was it the fact that it disrupted your purpose?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, as a lot of men have this whole mindset, a lot of us, our career is us. That defines us, what we bring to the table. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And me being in this position, money's okay and everything, but being in this, and it's just like, but if I don't want to do this, what am I going to do with my life? Okay. I got a family, I got 4 kids, I got a wife, I got mortgage, I got bills. It's like, I support all of this. My wife is over here, people see her as the mogul. I'm the foundation of that. Like, I'm stable. This is what I do. Yes. I've done this for 20 years. This is me. And this ain't what I want to do.
And now it's gone.
And my heart is not in it. So that's when, yeah, it's gone. Like the thrill was gone. And I was just like, what? So it was like a hard conversation I had with myself, but then I realized, I hope I'm not fast forwarding it, but I realized every single time I've made elevation in my career, elevation in life, God was always the forefront of that. And he would always, I realized he always makes me uncomfortable enough to move, so I move myself. It ain't like I pray for it and God's like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
It's like, no, God's like, no, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable enough to where you can do this, you end up doing this yourself. I'm gonna push you out of that place you don't wanna be in. And that's what he was doing. And that was what, fast forward now, that's what moved me to retire from my 9-to-5 last year in May and work for me and my wife full time.
Yeah.
So now self-employed. But I ended up going through all that because I never would have stepped away from my 9-to-5 because that's what I do. You know, that hands-on, I you know, structural and tech, I do all that stuff all day. But did I enjoy it? No, I was just good at it.
Yeah. Can I just, speaking of purpose, right? I just kind of wanted to table it to Anthony because it seems like all the things throughout your life has kind of culminated to the moment where you and your wife got together and now you guys are life coaches, right? It's because you've had a very interesting story.
Yeah, you could have life if you want to be a life coach.
Exactly. So can you tell me about that point where you kind of reached that low point and you were like, something has to change at this moment?
So for me, there were a couple of moments like that in my life. So I had like multiple breakdowns. Or I like to call them catharsis that I went through. The first one was I moved to California, I played sports, and I moved from Brooklyn to California to go to college at 17. And immediately I met my college girlfriend. And we moved in together, and I saw that we weren't compatible, but I stuck with it anyway. But we started fighting like cats and dogs. We're both stubborn. And so we broke up, we were doing the X-sex, make up, break up, and she said she was pregnant with twin boys. At the time, I had an opportunity to play pro basketball in Peru and pro baseball with the Brewers, AA baseball. So I was ready to go to camp, and she comes back and goes, I'm pregnant. And even though we weren't connected, my father wasn't there for me, so I'm like, I'm always gonna be there for my kids, even though I feel like I shouldn't be with her, so I married her anyway. So in the process, I had to give up the sports because she needed help right then and there, so I couldn't report to camp. So to make a long story short, I married her. The twins were born, named after me. The first 3 years, we just fought, me and her, still like cats and dogs, and it just hit rock bottom. It was like, this ain't gonna work. Then I found out that I wasn't the biological father after all of that. So here I am in my 20s, like 21, 23 at the time. Lost the marriage, athletic career, my whole future, so it was like rock bottom.
Yeah.
I even thought about killing myself at different points. But then my spirit was like, you know what? This could be a blessing. This could be an opportunity for you. But in order for you to take advantage of it, you gotta get your shit together. You gotta stop blaming everybody else and start looking at yourself. And so I started doing my inner work.
Okay, so what does that look like? Because a lot of people say inner work, but I don't know what be working inner. You know what I'm saying? You gotta tell me what that means.
My inner work was to be honest with myself and to look at how I was, how I thought, and to start questioning, is this really benefiting me? Why am I being like this? Why do I act like this? And the tendency for a lot of people is to be like, well, that's just the way I am. But I knew if I stay the way I am, I'm not gonna get to where I wanna be. So I always say, to go there, you gotta grow there. You're on this level, you're always trying to get to high levels of understanding, enlightenment, wealth, you name it. So how are you gonna get to those other levels? They ain't gonna come to you, you gotta go to it. So I gotta expand and get out of my old way of thinking and being. And so I recreated myself. And I describe it like, and this connects to even a second trauma, so I'm gonna combine them together. I went into the Department of Corrections as a state correctional officer, and I was involved in a shooting. And after that shooting, I experienced post-traumatic stress. So now it goes back to the inner work. How am I gonna get out of this? The same way with the marriage, with that, now the shooting. So I compare it to a pantry cabinet. And everything in that pantry cabinet has been there throughout my entire life, the salt, shaking. These are all my beliefs, all the things I was programmed to be and this and that. But it wasn't working for me. But I didn't really realize it. Then one day there's this traumatic event, the marriage, the divorce, the shooting, where there's an earthquake and everything gets knocked over. And so that's the breakdown. Now you lose your identity. Who am I? Like you, it forced me. That catharsis. The system breaks down when it takes too much pressure. Eventually it's gonna break down. But it breaks down to give you an opportunity to rebuild it back even better. So with my catharsis, it was like, okay, what most people try to do is to go back to what they were. So let me put the stuff back in here, but you're gonna get the same life again. So I was like, you know what? No, this is a great opportunity. I have the opportunity now to create the life I wanna live. I wanna be who I wanna be, not because of what other people expect of me. I'm gonna be my true self. I'm going to spirit within.
Yeah.
So that connection, because that's the internal guidance system where everything you need, all the answers, it's gonna come from there, God, whatever name you wanna call it. So most people trying to get it out there, it's not out there, there's nothing out there for you out there. It's in here. So if you don't go within, you will go without, guarantee you.
I like that.
So what I started doing was I started putting this pantry back. I wasn't trying to recreate the same one. I wanted to create a pantry that I loved, a pantry that I was proud of. And so I'm putting stuff back like, what is this? Dude, this shit ain't good. I don't need that. Let me throw it out of the way. What is this? This is, I don't need that. What do I want there? I want this there. I want that there. So when I was done, I rebuilt this amazing pantry cabinet, an amazing life that I loved. And so the marriage and that, I did the same thing with each situation. And I came back better and stronger.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You want to add, Lawrence?
I mean, I ain't gonna never look at a pantry ever the same again. I'm be looking at the seasonings like,
You ain't got no sage in here.
which one is from Philly? Which seasoning is from New York?
He's in the Old Bay at.
I'm be looking at all my seasonings, looking at all, like, naming all the trauma.
Turmeric, huh? Okay.
I don't even like turmeric.
Man, that was good, man. I'm triggered. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm triggered, man. Because, like, I'm so similar to both of you guys. It's like, as far as I had to recreate myself every time I moved to a different city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm from Philly, born and raised, but then I had to move to New York City. You gotta recreate yourself, but you gonna go home. You know what I'm saying? Then moving to LA, it was the same thing. And what was really hard for me was, you know, being a full-time actor and believing that this is what I wanted to do with myself and it was my dream. I had to 100% commit to that. And with 100% commitment to acting is dealing with financial struggle. Because if you in acting class, you gonna miss work. But if you don't work, you're gonna miss acting class. So it's like, you gotta find that balance. And finding that balance is the hardest thing when it becomes being an actor. Like, it's the hardest thing because you just gotta find that, you gotta be able to figure out which is more, it's like I wanna say what is more important. Yeah, what is more important at the time. And of course, she always comes to my mind. My acting coach, my big sis, you know, Tasha Smith, she gonna come to my mind because when I got to LA, her being my coach, she would always say to me, you have to find a way to sustain yourself. You have to find a way. And she would always say that to me. And when you broke, it's like, I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah,
like,
I'm surviving.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then being so close to somebody like that, you know, people think that that was a relationship that was, you know, that I was born into. Like, no, that was, you know, that was something that God gave me when I moved here. But that's what I was doing before I even got here. That's what I was doing in New York. I was trying to find a way to sustain myself. And I don't think I ever knew how to put a word to it. But of course she does. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is, every time when it came to recreate myself, I hit rock bottom. And hitting rock bottom is not being able to pay your rent, not being able to pay your bills. And when I hit rock bottom, I always go to God. I go to God. But I've never learned how to go to God until I moved to LA and I went to One Church LA with Sarah Jakes Roberts and Torrey Roberts. That's when I learned, like, you know, it was just different going to that church. That church showed me, you know, when people say, oh, that's the Hollywood church, call it what you want, because that church feeds me. You know what I'm saying? And that church feeds me because it's relatable. It's not judgmental. It's just like the truth of like, yo, like, you know, Sarah won't get up there and talk about auditions.
Yeah.
And she not an actress, but she know what we going through.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just about like just really going back to God. That's always where I lead. That's always where I go.
And I think it's something beautiful about being able to lean on a community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know Kariga, like, I mean, you one of them people that'll call me, and even if I don't answer, like, I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you're calling me to a community and pulling me to a place where you believe better, right? You know, about the people that you want to interact with. But I think it's because, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but your foundation, you know, with your family and having such a close-knit community with your brothers, and now, you know, to see how you and your wife, you know what I mean, collaborating the music and all this stuff, can you add to this conversation?
Yeah, I'm listening deeply, processing, and I'm looking at like men on different intersections of life that I'm at. So I'm grateful for the conversation, but I'm also assessing myself within the cipher. And when he started talking about that pantry, I was like, what made him choose the pantry? That's such an interesting place, right? And I do exercise of taking inventory, but my wife would love for me to take better care of the pantry, right? I know it, and I try. But it really made me look at him on an intersection like, damn, homie taking care of the pantry. At least the pantry's organized. Figuratively and literally though, but like living in the partnership. And that place in life, Marcus, when you're talking about like, you know, being in a career, X amount of years and just looking at it like, yo, it's different now. Or whether recreating yourself and finding that rock bottom and evolving and finding that rock bottom and finding God.
Yeah, we're gonna end it with that. We're gonna definitely pick it up more at another time. It's getting late in the day. Time is getting away from me. But some of those things, just take a look, take a listen. And I still want to know at the end of the show, like, do you think that money is the key to happiness? Money gonna make you less stressed? Is money gonna make you more happy? So those are some things I want feedback from you guys. So I'm gonna be doing my homework. I'm gonna be listening. I'm gonna be watching, and we're gonna take a look and we're gonna see who says what. We all know that Norman is money. He gonna make him happy. I don't give a fuck. Money's gonna make him happy, and that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So with that being said, make sure y'all tap in. If you are on YouTube, make sure you liking us and subscribing. If you're on Facebook, make sure you liking and following us. And if you're on Twitter, make sure that you're liking the channels. Like how y'all do with them second channels, them nasty videos. Make sure y'all like it and make sure y'all sharing it. It's the same effort. It ain't the same thing, obviously, but it's the same effort. So appreciate y'all. Appreciate Timothy for his comments and things like that. So real good look. Appreciate for everybody who tapping on. I appreciate y'all 110%. And hopefully we get it bigger. Hopefully we get more comments and more responses, because that's what makes it popping. You know what I'm saying? So the more the merrier, things like that. So with that being said, we out here in my new studio, R&J Studio, and we're just getting bigger and doing bigger things. So Timothy said he really enjoyed the topic tonight, very informative. So no doubt, appreciate you for watching, and we're gonna keep coming with it too. So make sure you tapping in, even if it's every once in a while. I definitely appreciate it. All right, we out. Thank y'all for watching.